Okay, we are about to dive into a text exchange that might feel, a little uncomfortably familiar. It's a perfect example of how digital conversations can get so tangled up and, more importantly, how you can untangle them with some clear boundaries and intentions. Let's get right into it. Oh, we have all been there. You get a text, you see those three little dots start flashing, and your mind just starts racing, trying to decode every little word. That little moment of uncertainty, that's exactly what we're going to tackle today through a really fascinating real-world example. It really just boils down to this. On one side, you've got ambiguity, which is just a recipe for confusion and anxiety. And on the other, you have clarity, which is what actually builds understanding and respect. Our goal here is to show you how to get from that first column over to the second one. So, let's set the scene. We've got two people texting. We'll just call them Avatar 1 and Avatar 2. And our story really begins at this critical moment, when Avatar 1 decides, okay, it is time to draw a clear line in the sand. So this is the first message from Avatar 1. I mean, just look at how direct that is. No fluff, no beating around the bush, just a really clear statement of their intentions and their own personal focus. Just kind of let that sink in for a second before we break down why this is such a powerful way to start. This message is honestly textbook perfect for setting a boundary. See, Avatar 1 doesn't just say no. They clearly state what they don't want, but they also follow it up with what they do want, their personal goals. Using those I statements, that's key. It shows they're owning their decision. And then ending it politely, that keeps it from feeling harsh. It's the whole package. What's off the table, what's on their table, and a respectful way out of the conversation. And here's the reply from Avatar 2. Now, on the surface, this seems perfect, right? They sound appreciative, respectful. It really looks like the message was received loud and clear. But, as we're about to find out, there is a serious disconnect brewing just under the surface here. Okay, this is where things get really, really interesting. So even though that first message was super clear, Avatar 1 gets a feeling, a sense that there's still room for misunderstanding, and they decide to deal with it head on. So Avatar 1 follows up. Now, this is so smart. Instead of just waiting for things to get awkward, they proactively shut down any potential confusion. They state their intentions even more explicitly. This is such a crucial move, especially in texting where you don't have tone of voice or body language to help you out. That line, "my focus is on me," just slams the door on any other interpretation. And boom, there it is. Avatar 2's response just confirms that Avatar 1's gut feeling was totally spot on. They were operating on a completely different wavelength, thinking the whole thing was about flirting and sexual tension. This is the exact misread that Avatar 1 was trying to prevent. So there's actually a name for what just happened here: communicative misalignment. And it's not about one person being right and the other being wrong. It's just that they were using two completely different maps for the exact same conversation. And just recognizing that, giving it a name, that's the first step to fixing it. Okay, so the misalignment is now officially out in the open. What do you do? Well, let's see how Avatar 1 responds. This next move is all about clarifying that boundary one final time, but doing it in a way that doesn't blow things up. This is the final word from Avatar 1, and wow, it is just surgically precise. There is absolutely, positively no room left for any misinterpretation. They state the boundary directly, and, this is the important part, they connect it to their own personal well-being. So let's break this down. Why is this so powerful? First, zero ambiguity. Saying "I don't want to have sex with anybody" makes it not personal. See, it's not about Avatar 2 anymore. It's about Avatar 1's own life choices, that clear mind, better choices part. It reinforces the boundary without making it feel like an attack. And that right there is the art of it. So after that incredibly clear, incredibly firm statement, what happens? Does it all devolve into a big fight? Nope, it actually leads to a resolution. Let's check out the final exchange. And here we go. This is the outcome. Avatar 2 gets it. Okay, I respect that. The boundary has finally been received and it's been acknowledged. And what's really interesting is that they then propose a new, clearly defined way to interact: flirting, and they explicitly ask for consent. The whole dynamic has now shifted to one based on mutual respect. And this right here illustrates the end goal perfectly. It was never about winning an argument or being right. It was about making sure mutual respect was established and the boundary was totally understood. Mission accomplished. Okay, so what can we all take away from this? This whole exchange isn't just an interesting story. It's literally a playbook. So let's boil it down into the key steps that you can actually use in your own life. Here it is. A simple 4-step playbook from what we just saw. First, you gotta state your own focus using I statements, just like Avatar 1 talked about graduating and getting a car. That makes the boundary about you, not a rejection of them. Second, be direct and clear, but also be kind. Politeness never went out the window here. Third, and this is huge for texting, try to anticipate how things could be misread and get ahead of it. And finally, if the wires still get crossed, just re-clarify without blaming anyone. It's a pretty simple framework that can make a massive difference. And that really brings us to our final thought. Clear boundaries lead to a clear mind. We've seen exactly how this playbook works in this one situation. So the question I'll leave you with is, the next time you find yourself in a conversation like this, how are you going to respond? Thanks for tuning in.